There you go. What's up, Dino?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, we got, let me see. 116, Dean. You're popular, bro.
I like that. If it wasn't over 100, I would have left.
That's why Dean's Dean. All right, boys, we're gonna roll 8:04. We gotta go. Respect your time. Let's lock in. Okay, give me about 20, 25 minutes. We got Dean Ann on the phone, Coach Dean. High school guys, you know him. Big leaguer with the Yankees, big leaguer with the Cardinals, 10 plus year minor league career, triple A batting title, triple A batting title in 2013. And if you don't know, now you know. Okay, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Nate is doing his part so far.
Wait, Dean, can you see it?
Oh, yeah, I'm watching it. Wow.
Boom. Hold on, they didn't see it. Here we go. Let's watch it, boys. Here's Coach Dean. Dean, talk us through it.
Closed my eyes and I made contact with the barrel, and yeah, I just was trying not to fall down second base. Tell you the truth.
Your legs
no.
jello right now? Are your legs jello?
Yeah, it was. It felt good. It felt good. All the years I made it. That's the step there.
There's Jeter. Oh, that's cool, man. All right. Oh, there's you pitching. So that was cool. I wanted to show you guys that. And today's big board, embrace your journey. Okay, you guys are high school guys. You guys, what you guys have to understand is that you guys are still writing your story, and it's your story. Dean's story is going to talk about his story, but like in the high school, the way things are nowadays with the rankings and the perfect game this and prep baseball report and I'm ranked whatever in the state. Like, man, Dean has his own story. He had his own journey. His story's different, and like what the value that Dean brings is he was one of the he made it. He was a pro baseball player, made it in the major leagues, just didn't hang out in the minor leagues. He made it in the major leagues. And, his path, which it wasn't it was a grinder path. It wasn't a first round pick. Dean, you were picked up in the 26th round?
Yes.
All right. 26 rounders, gentlemen, are not supposed to make it in the big leagues if you look up statistics. You know what I mean? So when I'm talking about your journey, you guys are still writing your story. And you're going to be able to go, you think that your journey has to be a certain way. It doesn't, man. And Dean is a perfect example of, you want to keep grinding it out, you want to do things the right way, you want to believe in yourself till the day you die, you got every chance in the world to make it. Dean, talk about your journey for a little bit.
Like what you were saying with the PBR stuff and the rankings, I mean, I'm happy that was not there because that would have drove me absolutely nuts, seeing where I was ranked and what I was. But again, that would be more fuel on the fire, tell you the truth. So it might have been a good thing as well. But my journey, guys, you could look at me as an average Joe walking in to the Bo Jackson Dome. That's who I am. That's who Cangelosi is. I mean, if you guys can't believe in yourself when you look at me and be like, that guy made it to the big leagues, or you look at Kanji and be like, that guy made it to the big leagues, you got some issues because we weren't superstars. We're not 6'6". We're not Bryce Harpers. We're not Aaron Judges and all that. I mean, we give you a reality check right when you walk in that door that, hey, if you believe in yourself enough, you can make it. And I don't want to keep saying, oh, you got to believe yourself. You got to believe so. You got to commit to it. And I mean, we're going to my journey. I mean, I guess I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but first year in rookie ball, I couldn't wait to just see what rounder shortstop looked like, because I never seen one before. So I'm like, oh man, all these guys, my first group session. All right, there's a first rounder there from Baylor. There's another from LSU. There's another one from Florida State. All these guys. And I get there and I'm like, oh my God, that's a first rounder, you know, and right then and there, I knew I could make it, but I understand the school they were coming from. So I understood where I needed to sit and be patient and just wait, because I knew I was going to outplay those guys. I believed that, you know, and that's just scouting out my talent, I guess. And I'm sure you guys are battling stuff in high school as well. I'm sure you rather play center than left field. I'm sure you rather play short than third base. I mean, but it should just give you more fuel on the fire to, I don't want to say you're trying to outbeat your teammate in high school, but you should believe you're better than that guy at some point. And I don't know how to say it in a rude way or a professional way or a great teammate way. But, like, if you don't believe in that, there's no way you're an athlete. Like, that's what it comes down to. And you can still be a good teammate, but in the back of your head, you know you have to outperform somebody at some point to move up. So, and that's honestly, guys, the bottom line. The Sparks organization, Knapp, Ty, all these guys, and, you know, myself, I mean, we create an amazing culture. I mean, you guys are getting breeded. I think you guys, my first year coaching the Sparks high school team, I was really impressed with the maturity level of the kids that I coached, because I know I was a lot more immature than that. And these kids, and that's kudos to the organization you guys are in. I didn't have that, you know, so that's always a plus as being a competitor, because you're growing the right way and still being a competitor and trying to beat out people the right way. And that's just the name of the game at the end of the day, guys. You guys are going to remember how it ended or what happened, or at some point, you know?
And I think too, at the end of the day, Dean, like everybody's path and everyone's journey is going to be different. Your path was way different than maybe another guy who got to the big leagues or whatever the case. But at the, you know, like if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to get eaten up. Bottom line, you're going to get eaten up. And I think the one thing that is consistent with Dean's story is that since he was 9, 10 years old, like Dean thought he was the best player on the field. And his dad told him that. His dad built him up with confidence at a very, very young age. And you got to have that mentality that you are the best player on the field at all times. And it doesn't matter if you have a bad day. You're going to have bad days. But if you have, you know, if you not consistently have 7 or 8 or 9 bad days in a row, whatever the case is, you know in the back of your head you're going to turn it around. And that mentality, I think, goes way farther than any physical drill, any tool. Because, Dean, talk about the guys that you passed up along the way. First rounders, dudes that can throw 95 across, dudes that can run a 6'2", dudes that can hit a ball 500 feet, but they couldn't play consistently. Is that true?
That is true. And I think they didn't enjoy the game as much as I did. And as my career at the end got slower and I was in more minor league camps, I look back on my journey and I go, holy crap, I really fooled myself. Because, I mean, when I got drafted, I thought it would be, I wouldn't say it was easy. There's no way it was easy. I could tell you a million stories. I'll probably tell you a few during this call. But when I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, I beat out probably legitly every spring training. It was me or this one guy. Every spring training. That's 7 straight years of maybe getting cut. And I never got cut. And you guys are going to go to college and stuff and all that. But me to make it and think about what I had to accomplish to make it is really cool to look back on. I never got down to my – there's a lot of good players that just quit out of nowhere. Just they didn't want to work. They didn't want the 150 games. They weren't getting the playing time as they wanted. And, I mean, guys, I was catching bullpens in low A, not playing for 2 weeks in low A, behind 3 guys that had 30 errors in a whole year. 30 errors at third, 30 errors at short, 30 errors at second. And I couldn't play because they were an investment player. You know, so but I was still happy to be there because I knew I was better than those guys. It's almost impossible for them to get rid of me because I know I'm better than them. And sure enough, they didn't. And I made it through all that stuff. I think I was blinded by the big leagues. When you sign that contract, guys, and you play pro ball, I don't get why minor leaguers want more money and stuff. And the people saying that are the people that didn't make it, and they were in minors for 6 years. You know, and they're bringing up those stories. I was making $250 for 4 years, but it felt like $1 million. I go play in front of people every day. Kids want my autograph. Guys, the money, obviously you need to live, but when you're 21, 22, and some kids are wanting your autograph and you're in some Indiana town or whatever, it's a great feeling, guys. It really
it kind of like so your own journey, you got to embrace it, and you got to, like I said, everyone's path is different. But point number 2, right? Smile, have fun, enjoy the ride. And I think we lose track of this, and we lose we lose the general pureness and enjoyment of the game that we played at 8, 9, 10U. Like you guys that have been to Cooperstown, that experience, you know, like the wiffle ball mentality that I always talk about, where if I put a wiffle ball together and had 15 of you guys come, you guys would be diving around, you guys would be talking crap, but you guys would be competing at a really, really high level, having fun. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that we can learn from Dean's path and journey is that even making 250, he's a bullpen catcher with dudes that he should have been playing over, but that Dean had a smile on his face. He's playing baseball. He got to put on the jersey, right? He enjoyed, you want to call it the love of the game. You love the game of baseball. You become, you become that guy that just, you become obsessed with it. You become like, you just love it. And it's like anything that you truly love, when you get to that point, you don't care how much money you're making. You don't care what city you're in. You don't care if you got to ride a bus for 8 hours, if you're eating macaroni and cheese, like living that minor league lifestyle, man, you know, if you know Dean's personality, that's why he was one of the last guys standing, is because he was able to smile, have fun, and he was able to enjoy his ride. Did he have good days? Sure. Did he have bad days? Yeah. But was he able to overcome all that and play the game at its purest state? I really believe he was. And Dean, talk about like how you were able to have kind of this mentality, smile, have fun, enjoy the ride, and how you felt like that really, you know, prolonged your career.
I was looking for like the right phrase to say, and I found it. I had the thickest skin, guys. I mean, if someone wants to say, oh, he's not that good, or he wants to talk crap to me, you got to have thick skin and take the good with the bad, with the bullshit, everything. And if you don't have thick skin, and that's just in life in general, like you're going to go through things, you're going to be knocked down, got to get back up. Like, and as you keep getting up, your skin gets thicker. It gets thicker. It gets thicker. And you sorry, work phone, boys. But so and I was always trying to figure out the word that describes me the most. And yeah, I'm a grinder, but my skin was so much thicker than all those other guys I beat out. And that's, I think, truly why I made it to the big leagues more than anything. I would make fun of myself. I would be doing sprints. This is in spring training. And, you know, everyone just kind of does the jog. I would take off because I wanted to start the day with that underdog mentality. And I'd be like, I just don't want to get cut. And that would be my first sprint every day in spring training. And guys would just be dying because they know that I'm on the chopping block with 3 other guys. But and that's how I was gonna take it, and I wanted to have fun with it. It's there, you know what I mean, guys? Like, having thick skin, I think, is so important, and I think that's personally why I made it and I made it, you know.
Dean, talk about like when you were not going good, when you were struggling. I think everyone on this call is going to be at some point in their career, they're gonna hit a low spot where things aren't going right, they don't feel right, you know, whatever, they can't get going. When you were in that state, how you know, like, what was your mentality when you were at those lower points in your performance aspects of your career?
Well, you can always say, oh, next game's going to be better. Next game's going to be better. And it doesn't. And it doesn't. And you're like, oh, my God. Now the ball looks like a golf ball. Next at bat, ball looks even smaller. And you're like, what the heck do I need to do? I went in the cage all day. I hit all day. Sometimes, guys, I think if we're in a slump, and this works for me, I try not to even do baseball activities. I try to go do something else, completely something else. Like, I try to change up the whole routine of those days that were combined of me having a bad day. And it was just a little something, whatever. Maybe I went to a movie by myself. I don't know, just little stuff like that, just to get me away from thinking about it so much. Because I think when we're in slumps, we think about it more and more and more, and it gets harder, and it gets more stressful. And then you're like, oh my God, like, should I even be playing baseball anymore? But when you get that hit to break your slump or whatever, guys, there's no better feeling. There's no better feeling. Like, oh, that's what it feels like to round that base. And I tell guys this all the time. When you're in the batter's box, you hit that ball, and there's that second and a half where you know no one's going to touch it, and it's dropping in the grass. No matter what, that 1 second is the best feeling in the world to me. Right there, right when you hit that ball, you had that 1 second, dude, and you almost lose where you're at, because it's just that like little moment where you're like so happy that you almost like black out, you know. And that's why we were talking about the younger kids. The same thing is when you have a bad game, all the coach cares about is how you come back the next day. Like, that's it. So that's my advice.
It's actually like, it made a lot of sense when you talked about, like, you know, you have that success after you haven't had it in a while, or you know that you're going to get that knock. And it's just such a relief, because it's so stressful. And, you know, the game's not easy. You guys are going to figure out, the longer you play this game, the harder it gets. It doesn't get easier. And the ability to just slow it down, breathe, go through your stuff. But I think that the most valuable, one of the most valuable things Dean said on either call was get away. Like, it's okay to get away when things aren't going right, when your feels are not going right. Like, sometimes more is worse, right? When you're in that thing I talk about all the time. When you're going good, right? When that ball from a hitter looks like a beach ball, like, less is more. Get your feel and save them for, like, you know, you hear about major league guys that are in the zone, or they're doing really good. They might take 2 or 3 swings in a batting practice round and get out of the cage, because they're so locked in that they know that they're still there. Like, they're trying to hold on to their rhythm and timing and all that stuff for dear life. Like that's, that's why I think it's really, really important that as you mature in your careers, that you understand your fields. You understand when you're going really well. You understand when you're not going well, and it's okay to change something up. Like we had Mark Payton on, one of the first guys, and I remember being in the dugout with him all fall, and a couple of guys weren't going well, and he's like, here, he's like, pick a random bat. He's like, I don't care what bat it is, just do something different. He's like, just take this bat up there, and I guarantee the guy gets a hit, And that's kind of what Dean's saying is like, just be out of character, be out of box. Like you have to be able to kind of be as non-threatening and non-competitive and be as free as you can in those moments, because the only way you're going to get out of that stuff is when you're not pressing like you want to. Does that make sense, Dean?
No, absolutely. You hit that on the nose.
So again, we talk about smile, have fun, enjoy the ride. And you guys, I think I got all these arrows set up, down, curves, left, right. Last man standing wins, okay? And I don't care where you're at in your career right now, what you're ranked, what school you're going to, because every level there's a new challenge. Every time Dean showed up to a spring training, he knew that it was either him or some other guy that was getting cut, right? He had to go from common to uncommon. We've talked about that. He had to separate himself from his competition. So I don't care where you're at in your careers right now. It's about where you stand at the end of your career, right? Dean looks at his career. He was in the big leagues. He was one of the last man standing. He had over a 10-year, 13-year minor league career, won a batting title. Like, he defied every odd that said you were not going to be productive as a 26-round pick. 26-round picks are not supposed to hang around for 10-plus years and get 2 stints in the big leagues. That's just the fact of the statistics. And Dean can look here, and he's a human example of, not being a perfect game All-American, not being this huge draft prospect, but making it into the big leagues. So don't tell me, whatever state you're in right now, I don't care if you're, I don't care if you're not a Division I player, if you're a whatever the case is, it's about where you're at when you're done. Last man standing. And then go back to, what does your story look like? Where did you start? Where did you finish? And what did you do in between there? And what does your story look like? Because God bless you. Because at the end of the day, the worst fear that I have for any of you is that you're peaking right now as a 16, 17-year-old, and this is the best that you'll ever be. Some of you on this call, 127, that's going to be the reality, is that you peaked and you're peaking right now. I don't want that for any of you, right? I want you to have a 10-plus minor league career, 2 stints in the big leagues, and show you hitting a ball out of the Yankee Stadium against the Red Sox, like Uncle Dean did, right? Right. So at the end of the day, you got to understand it's about where you finish. It's not where you're at right now, because some of you have so much more baseball to play. And if you look at, like I said, Dean didn't throw the ball 100 across. He didn't run no 6'2". He didn't hit a ball 500 feet. You find a gazillion more players with better tools than Dean. But at the end of the day, he outplayed all of them because he was consistent. He stayed within himself. He knew who he was, and he had fun. He was able to put a smile on his face. He was able to show up, goes, yeah, I might get cut, but, man, I'm running hard because I don't want to get cut, and it just lightens everyone up. Right. But in my opinion, that's how you play the game at its natural state. Because Dean would be the same way if he played wiffle ball or if you played a backyard game with them. So we have to really, really dig in and use Dean's story and Dean's journey, because every guy here on this call has got this. He has to have this underdog mentality. There's not one guy on here that's like guaranteed first-round pick just because he throws the ball 120 miles an hour. He's this 5-tool guy. We don't have any guys like that. That's not us. But at the end of the day, there's going to be guys on this call that'll play in the big league someday. And that's how this is your recipe to how you're going to survive and play the game long and have a great career like Dean did. Dean, does that make sense to you? You got anything you want to add there?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And another thing, guys, a lot of you guys are going to college soon, and you guys want to go to college soon. And the best advice I can give you that I thought really well is I never look down the road too far. How can an underdog guy look? The only way I could look is what I have now and who is around me that is pretty much competing with me. That's all I have. If you guys look down the road too far, guys, you guys are going to get lost in the now, and you're never going to develop in the future. Like, that's one thing that I thought I did really well is that I kept it simple. Whatever situation and whatever I had to conquer, whatever problem I had to conquer at that time in my baseball career, I took it full force and I tried to figure out some way, and I prevailed. You guys are going to run in, and I know we want to talk about team and all that at some point. You guys got to be a good team player, and you got to do that stuff. But, guys, you're at a top-notch organization. You guys are going to be competing. No one wants to play left field. People want to play center. No one wants to play second base. People want to play short. And, I mean, vice versa, whatever. Maybe you're second baseman as you go up. Fine. But, guys, if you don't get jacked up for competing when you know that person is as good as you, I would question if you really should be out there. I mean, and that's just something I don't know how you guys think. But if you get jacked up and you know there's a good player that you're going to face and you're like, man, I can't wait. I hope I out-hit him that day. You know, like that was my mentality personally. That's what kept me going as a player where I was at a JUCO. And it was always the guys ranked higher than me. And I think, all right, here we go. Like, and they probably weren't even thinking of me. But I'm making this all up in my head. All up in my head because I still think that I'm better than these guys. And I'm creating this situation. And, you know, and I'm outplaying them slowly. And then out of nowhere, they're gone. And I prevail. And that's how it goes. It don't happen in one game. Most times they're probably – well, they never did beat me out. I beat them out most of the time. But, like, that was the exciting part about my career is when I was in AAA, low A, wherever it was, I always looked for whatever shortstop was playing that day, I was playing against him. That's who I played against because that's who I'm getting judged by. And that's just how it goes. And, of course, you want to be on a winning team. You want to win championships. I'll tell you what, if you do good and get 2 for 2 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs, I'm sure your team's going to be close to winning that game. And you know, and you got to have that mentality that Knapp talks about all the time. And you guys are going to come into competition as you keep getting older and going through this organization and as you get through wherever you go to college. And that's just how it's going to go. So if you just start, I'm sure you're working hard right now. And I know it sucks you guys are home, but, you know, that's fun competing because then you figure out how good you are, you know, and you go on from there.
It's a situation you got to thrive on. And Dean made a living doing that, you know, like that's the great part about competing, watching the Jordan documentary, learning from the greatest and how, you know, MJ went about being on his teammates' ass and you know, like borderline, you know, kind of he set the bar and you got to be able to compete with yourself and you got to be able to compete with the guy that like I love the Dean, like Dean was always competing with the other shortstop. And that was the game within the game for him mentally. Like I'm going to be the best shortstop on the field today.
Right. And I wasn't, guys, can you hear me right now?
Yeah. Mhm.
I wasn't like talking about this with my teammates, guys. Like, this wasn't something I was just like, oh, I'm playing against that guy today. Like, that was just in the back of my head to keep me ahead of the game, you know, and to see where my standings are, you know. And go ahead. Yeah, that's just.
That was good. No, that was really good. All right, real quick before we close out, if you guys got any questions, just put it in the group chat. I'll ask Dean, but you know, if we can get 2 or 3 questions out of you guys that maybe you want to ask about anything, his career, his mentality, what he thought about, whatever, throw it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll get off in about 2 or 3 minutes. But you know, I think to sum everything up. There's not a better person with a better journey and a better story than you guys can look at. And honestly, like, you guys can relate to Dean's journey, because somebody in this room, on this call right now, is going to have a very, very similar journey. That is the most realistic journey that you guys have if you want to be a big league player. And you have to have the mindsets that he's talking about. You have to have the ability to have these internal competitions with, you know, your teammates, yourself. You know, everyone talks about being a great teammate, but he's exactly right. Like, you know exactly who you're competing against. You know exactly on your team who you're competing against. You don't, you know, you're not going to make it vocal and everything else, but, you know, it's either you or him. And you guys have to be able to embrace that competitive nature in every aspect of your life, in every team that you're on, and just say, listen, I'm going to be the best guy. And when you can really embrace that, you're going to write your journey is going to be way better than if you're always looking behind your back going, you know, Dean, did you ever worry about who was behind you?
And that's what I was just thinking that I never thought that, guy. I believed in myself, but I always felt like someone thought that guy was better, and I wanted to prove that he wasn't. And it took me a while to do that because I was the underdog, and I had to prove it over and over and over. That guy could have done it just a couple times and be like, oh, that guy's way better. But I had to keep proving it over, and that's called consistency. And that's why I became a professional for so long.
That's good, man. That's good. All right, Dean, listen, thanks for everything today. It was really, really good. I got these recorded. Leave the guys right now. These are all high school guys. What would you tell yourself if you could talk to yourself, knowing what you know now? What would you tell yourself if you were in high school? What advice would you give yourself if you were in high school right now where these kids are?
And guys, my dad gave me this advice: gain 5 pounds a year, get just a little bit better than you were last year, this much. And then in 4 years or wherever you're at, you're this much better and you're 20 pounds heavier. Because that is being in the moment. You cannot look down I see too many kids at the Dome thinking about all this other stuff, maybe colleges when they're freshmen, sophomores, and I know they're recruiting differently and I get it, but you guys got to figure out. I see a lot of guys at the Dome that do that fall in the summer program, all the programs. You guys take 1,000 billion swings, but you still look like the same player sometimes. And that's, it can't happen. You got to start figuring out how to get better each year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really, really, really. Hey, we got some questions rolling in. We got George here. What was it like looking around Yankee Stadium your first start? What kind of emotions were going through your head?
Good question. My first, when I started at Yankee Stadium at shortstop, when Jeter had an off day, first off, the guys were booing me because no one paid to see Dean Anna's at shortstop, and that's Jeter's last year. So first off, that's more pressure on me. And then, but honestly, just breathe. I took a lot of big, deep breaths, and that helped me big time. It really controlled my emotions, and I'm not joking. I was even thinking about the game. I just had to keep thinking about breathing, and that relaxed me. And that was, it was amazing. And I would think about, man, you know what? I'm the 25th best shortstop in the world right now because there's only 25. Is there 25 teams, right?
Yeah, I
25
think
teams?
there's 30.
Is there 30 teams?
Yeah, like 31 or 30.
I don't know. Well, anyways, I was the 31st best shortstop. That's what I thought about too. There's only 31 of us out there, and I was one of them at that time.
Nick, did you ever think you were going to beat Jeter out?
Yeah, I did. And then, he took my $100 and said, that's just how it goes around here.
You want to tell the Jeter story real quick or no? I think they'd like that.
Yeah, it's fine. So Jeter made a friendly bet, and I won. And he's a Michigan fan. So I get to the clubhouse, said, hey, you owe me some money. And he goes, what are you talking about? My team was getting whatever, some points or whatever. And sure enough, I had to give Jeter $100, just the principle of me being a rookie and me not opening up my mouth next time, because a veteran. So I just, it's a learning curve of being a rookie. But
so you bet Jeter, you won the bet, but you still had to pay him.
Still had to pay him.
Still had to pay him. The moral of the story, you don't bet Jeter because he always wins.
Exactly.
He always wins. All right, man, that's really good. Okay, I'll see you guys. Listen, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Dino, Uncle Dean, thanks for coming, man. Really good stuff. And then obviously, you guys all know Dean. He'll be around the dome, and just keep your minds right, boys. It's gonna pop pretty soon. We're gonna start playing. Make sure you guys are ready. All right.
Be safe.
All right. See you,
Bye.
boys.